Canadians are less economically free than Americans, and the gap is widening. According to the Fraser Institute's annual Economic Freedom of the World report, the United States ranks 6th in this year's index, while Canada is tied for 10th with Australia. Canada has gone from being a top 5 country 2 years ago to barely hanging on in the top 10 in this year's index. The report says higher taxes and growing regulation at the federal level and in some provinces have made Canadians materially less economically free. This is where we bring in Danielle Smith from Global News Radio 770 CHQR to continue the conversation. Danielle, good morning to you. What are we looking at when we focus on this study?
Well, let's look at the positive. Canada is in the top 10. And when you think of all of the jurisdictions that are rated here, I think there's some 162 of them, that's pretty darn good. So we have a really good quality of life, really good standard of living, really good prospects. But I think we're all feeling like we're stagnating, that we haven't seen incomes grow as much as we would have liked. We haven't seen the economy grow as much as we would like. And so what this really points out is that government policy does have an impact. It's quite remarkable to see the reversal of fortunes that you have in the United States. And maybe that's the other thing that focuses our attention so much, is because we have such a huge and now booming economy just to our south, it puts a lot more pressure on our politicians to make sure that they aren't following policies that put us in the opposite trajectory. And I think that's what we've seen in the last couple of years, is that it could be that we got complacent because the Americans did have such a relatively high rate of taxes on personal income, on corporate income, as well as an enormous amount of regulation at the federal level. But I don't think anybody accounted for the fact that you start seeing some of the changes that we've seen in the last couple of years with the Trump administration. So while our regulation has gone up, while our tax burden has gone up, they've gone in a different path. And as a result, we've seen this reversal. And the impact is that you end up with higher incomes, more growth, more jobs in the United States, and stagnation here.
Well, we see there that sorry, Danielle, I had someone talking in my ear there. So do we take this study with a grain of salt then, or should we learn something from this?
I think we should learn from it. We are doing really well, but it is going to be interesting to see why it is there are some that consistently are at the top rank. I've always been mystified about how it is that Hong Kong is the freest economy in the world, and yet it is under the political umbrella of China, which is one of the least free economically in the world. They rank down at 108th. And this is one of the things that Fred McMahon points out, is that he would anticipate over the coming years that Hong Kong is going to lose some of that status as the Chinese government's influence starts eroding some of that economic freedom. Although we haven't seen it yet. I mean, it's been under their power since 1999. It's sort of remarkable that they continue to be at the top, which suggests that you have a government that is able to follow a dual policy, where they know that they don't want to kill the golden goose in Hong Kong. And as a result, it continues to be a magnet for attraction of investment, and also does incredibly well when it comes to the high level of standard of living, the personal incomes, and growth. So we're going to talk a little bit about what lessons can be learned there too.
Yeah, interesting to look into for sure. Thanks for this. Have a good show.
Yeah, thank you.